you a young Catholic and have a plan or a mission in life that you really want to live out, but for whatever reason you haven't yet? Well, I've been exactly where you are. And I want to tell you how I went from that place to living out the life that I've always dreamed of. Hi, if we've never met, my name is Laura Jean. I'm the founder of Let's Be Saints Co. And I help young Catholics become who they were created to be and build the life that they were created to lead and build really, really strong marriages along the way. Now, I grew up in a really vibrantly Catholic home and family, and I loved learning about the saints and about the faith. And as I grew, I learned that our faith holds the blueprint for human flourishing. Flourishing is often defined as something developing rapidly and successfully. And it's closely related to thriving. And I see it as a combination of like this deep peace that you get from when you're living your life according to the way that you feel like you need to be living it, and a lightheartedness where you are outward focused and you're able to look at the things around you and make them more beautiful. And like I said, our faith holds this blueprint for flourishing. Now, a blueprint, if you've ever thought about it, is kind of like for a building. It has all of the nooks and crannies. It has all of the walls, all of the doors. It shows you everything. It's kind of like the plan, right? And it gives you the opportunity to look from a bird's eye view at the project. And it helps you see things that might be hidden around a corner. And much like how a blueprint has an author or a creator for a building who's an architect, there's also the architect, the creator of our lives, our Lord, who has built us with a blueprint as well. Now, what happens when someone goes to build a home, for example, and doesn't follow the specifics in the blueprint? Well, that home is on rocky ground, you might say. It is at risk of imploding. It is at risk of being unstable, just not so many good things. And that's very much the same thing that happens with us when we think to ourselves, hey, I know better than the blueprint that God has put in my own life, and I'm going to see if I can find this flourishing outside of this plan. But somewhere along the way, as I was growing up, I was kind of faced with the realities of the modern world. Like the way that the world was running and the amount of marriages and families that fell apart seemed to be in direct contradiction to what I always knew to be true. In that if we follow this blueprint that God has created for our lives, if we build our lives according to this blueprint, we will flourish, right? But what I saw was painting a different picture. And so I went out in search of understanding exactly how one might be able to build their life according to this blueprint, and if that's still possible in the modern world. And the answer, long and short, is yes, of course. Now, I saw this flourishing as something that so many of us desire, but so few of us actually attain because we look for solutions in the modern world. We say, you know what, I have a better idea. Let me go off on my own and try to figure it out. But through my studies, my resolve was actually strengthening that there is a way in this modern world that individuals and couples can have a flourishing life and build marriages that are founded on this really strong foundation and can last a lifetime. And because I had found this link or this cheat code, you might say, I resolved to turn around and hand on what I was learning to other people so that they too could figure out this world of this human flourishing that's possible for us. What I really wanted was to turn around and hand on this same information that I had received and that had changed my life. Well, before I got the chance to do that, while I was still studying abroad, I fell ill and like really sick, and we couldn't figure it out. And so I had to fly back to the States, and it took us a few months, but I eventually was diagnosed with Lyme disease. And here I'm thinking to myself, my dream of continuing my education and living out this new mission that I had just kind of figured out, it seemed to evaporate before my eyes. And that was really hard. And as much as strength as it took to just even fight this illness, I was also fighting this internal battle of, what am I going to do if I can't do this thing, if I can't do this mission? Well, around that same time, the pandemic hit and everything kind of shut down. However, a somewhat new and accessible option became popular, and I started to see it. And this was the world of online business and online education. And this, I thought to myself, I could do from bed if I was really, really sick. And so I started to see that as a way to still fulfill my mission of reaching individuals and couples and helping them flourish in the season that they're in right now, and to help them build strong marriages that will last a lifetime. And I also realized that other people in a similar situation to me, where you're home for whatever reason, couples who live long distance, for example, or people who just had really busy lives and needed something that fit their schedule a little bit more, all of these people still deserve to be served in the same way. So I set off to create a solution that not only worked for my life, but would meet the people where they were at in their daily lives and help them to gain this information where they can really transform their lives from right where they were. So I started my business without a ton of understanding of all that goes into it. But I knew that I could learn along the way, and that's exactly what I did. Now, I had this program specifically for marriage preparation that I knew I had to write, because while I was studying, I came across something that was a startling statistic, and it said that 80% of the marriages that failed because the couple didn't know what they were getting into. And in my mind, as someone who was a single individual going through this education herself, I knew how life-changing it was for me to know this and to prepare ahead of time. And so I saw that as the solution. Light bulbs were going off in my mind that if people didn't know what they were getting into with marriage, the solution then is a really good marriage preparation. Something that helps them not only, prepare for their marriage to come, like that's down the road, but in that same preparation, you're refining your own human experience. You're refining yourself so that you can live in the best way in the season that you're in right now. And of course, that overflows and is aimed at this longevity of your relationship and your marriage in the future. And so really, it's a win-win for both. So I graduated, it was a journey, and wrote the program, and welcoming my first students in really felt like the world was handed to me. I felt so solid in my mission that this is what I was put on this earth to do. And since that first launch of the program nearly 4 years ago, I've been able to reach individuals and couples all over the world. And most importantly, I feel like I'm doing the work that God created me to do. And I'm continually becoming the person that He created me to be. It is an honor to get to be a part of the life-changing work that God is doing, transforming lives and building really strong marriages all over the world. So let's talk about how you can do this for yourself. In this channel, you'll hear stories, gain insights, and learn how to become the person that God created you to be so that you can lead the life He created you to lead. Now, this world is far too small to be occupied by trying to be someone else, to live someone else's life. And I'm here to tell you that living the life that only you can live and fulfilling the mission that only you can fulfill, that is what's going to lead you to living the most fulfilling life that you can on this earth. And maybe you know what that mission is, or maybe you only know a piece of it, but for some reason or another, you don't feel like it's possible for you. Well, I'm here to tell you that it absolutely is possible. And whether it's something outside of your control that's holding you back, much like my health was for me, or it's something inside of your control and you're holding yourself back from doing the thing that you know you want to do, it is possible for you. And I want to tell you that I see you. I've been where you are, and I can confidently tell you that you won't regret putting in the hard work and becoming who God created you to be. There are so many more good things to come on this channel, so make sure you hit the subscribe button and follow along. I'm cheering for you.